Welcome to Communication Skills Behavior Style. I'm Trainer Lori. What is behavior style? It's the way we speak to others. And while we were born with a certain tendency, we can change how we speak to other people, just like learning another language. So we're going to learn how to speak to any language today, essentially, in behavior style. Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, said the most important skill we can work on as adults is communication. So that's why we're doing this. In fact, did you know that 3 out of 4 people are weird? Hey, that's not just me. Socrates said this. And in fact, all of his compadres in ancient Greece understood this. So we need to understand it today. The only difference is that he used terms that we might not understand today. For example, he said that there are 4 kinds of styles, and of course, if we're one of them, everybody else seems a little weird. But he named these styles, these behavioral styles, after what he called body humors. Today we might say body fluids. And that means that I am a sanguine, and I'm named after blood. Well, I don't really care for that. And how about the poor phlegmatics? Guess what they're named after? It's called phlegm. So we won't go there. Let's look at words that we can understand. Factual, economical, likable, and social. So what does that mean? Well, if you were to take a piece of paper and draw a cross on it and divide that paper into 4 parts, then you could see how we look in these different behavior styles. At the top of the page, you'd want to write the word task, because these 2, factual and economical, are more task-oriented. The likable and social are more people-oriented. That means that if you're going to get the job done, the factual and economical people say, leave me alone, let me just do the task. Whereas the social and likable people would say, let's see who we have to work on this team and how can we work together. You'll also notice that on the left it says indirect and on the right it says direct. Well, that is because the factual and the likable people, they aren't going to tell you directly to your face what they think. For example, if maybe you have bad breath, instead of saying, you have bad breath, they might offer you a mint. And so they would do it in an indirect way. Whereas the economical and the social people might say, hey, what'd you have for lunch? It smells pretty bad. So they're more direct. They don't mind saying what they want. And you probably know people like this, so what I'd like you to do is to think about people you know at home and people you know at work, and see if you can peg them, if you can decide what quadrant they might fit in, and especially you. Where do you fit? Although sometimes that's the hardest one to peg. We're going to look at it 4 different ways. We're going to look based on their team contribution, what's most annoying about them, what they're like under pressure, and what their greatest need is. So the factual person, remember the task-oriented indirect person? The factual person, they're really good at planning. And so that's their best team contribution. However, they can be a perfectionist, which could be annoying if you just want them to get the job done and all they want to do is get it right. They want to make it perfect. Under pressure, in other words, if all the chips are down and people are yelling and they just leave me alone. Just go to my corner and get my job done independently. And their greatest need is thoroughness. So if you're going to help them, then help them be thorough. It's easy to remember the factual person because their motto essentially is get it right. Just get it right. And fortunately, factual people exist because then we have accountants and we have detail-oriented computer writers, things like that. It's very important to get it right. The next one is the economical, the task-oriented direct person. And you can see their greatest team contribution is leadership. They're very good at leading the team, knowing where to go and taking people there. What's annoying about them is they're impatient. And if you work for an economical person, and you probably do because they have a tendency to become the leader, because they have that natural bent, they are impatient. Just do it. Just don't talk to me about it. And under pressure, they're dictatorial. They'll say, "This is what I want, and do it now." And they may not be using the most friendly language when they are dictatorial. Their greatest need is for control. Have you ever seen a 2-year-old that is an economical person? And I can tell you, even a 2-year-old will need control. And frankly, if they don't see anybody else be in control, then they will get, at 2, they'll get very frustrated. But as an adult, they'll take over themselves if they don't see anybody else. So this is their natural indication. Their motto: get it done. Just get the job done. That's what's important. Job done. The likable person. Their best team contribution is listening. Because they like to listen, they usually have a lot of friends, and that is their hallmark. Unfortunately, what is annoying on a team is their indecisiveness. If you ask a likable person to make a decision, they want to find out how everybody else feels about it first, and they don't want to take the helm, and they don't want to tell everybody what to do. They want to do it as a group. Under pressure, they may be submissive. So keep in mind that if they're a customer, they may be willing to take whatever you throw at them if they're not happy and they come to you and you say, well, you just have to take it. They do have the most friends. They will go tell those friends, and people will listen to them. So you're not just making one unhappy customer. You're probably making 15 unhappy customers, because they will tell their friends and their friends will listen. And that you can see their greatest need is friendships. So they will have a lot. In fact, you could probably count how many Facebook friends they have. They're going to have a lot more than the factual or the economical or social person. And their motto is get along. Can't we just get along? They want everybody to get along, so they're very keen on teams and working together. Now let's look at the social side. The social is the direct and people person, and their greatest team contribution is persuading. And so you'll find them a lot as trainers. You'll find them as attorneys, as teachers, because they're good at letting people know what they should be thinking. Unfortunately, their annoying habit is that they're disorganized, and you can look at their desk and see right away it's probably a social person or someone who has social tendencies. Under pressure, they become sarcastic. So if they're for example, in a retail setting, and they're the customer and they're not being waited on, they might make some sarcastic remarks, either to the staff or to other patrons that are there. And their greatest need is for approval. Do you think this is a good idea? They'll always ask, what do you think? What do you think? Is this good? Because they want to make sure that they're making the right decision. And their motto is have fun. In fact, Bill Clinton said after he left office, he said there may have been better presidents, but no one had more fun, which clearly put him in the social category there. Let's think about them as children. And sometimes I say adults are nothing more than 3-year-olds in grown-up bodies. So what toys would a factual child want? Probably either Legos or some kind of a game that they can play on their own. And they can build things, like a computer game where their goal is to get better. The economical person loves competition, so they would love some game like Monopoly or something where they can take control of the whole board. The likable person just wants to do it as a group. Whatever the group wants to do, they'll be right there. And the social person loves to be on stage, so karaoke would be a very appropriate gift for a social child. So now that they're grown up, what kind of car would they like? Well, the factual would want something safe. The economical, something that will dominate the road. The likable, something that will hold the whole team. And social, something that looks good. If you were in a cab in Paris, what would be the best way to communicate with the driver? If you knew a little French, it probably would be to speak their language. So what I'm asking you is not to change who you are, but to simply speak the language of the person that you're talking to. And so if you are talking to somebody who's a factual, give them the facts. If you're talking to an economical person, let them be in charge while giving them details as quickly as possible. The likable person, you'll want to make sure that you've talked to the whole team, and the social person, you want to make sure it's fun. Thanks for joining us. See us next time, and if you like it, please click like.